Who wants to go to a fibre festival with me? I'm going to be heading out to the Handwerkbeurs in Houten, which is about 30 minutes outside of Utrecht. It's one of the biggest textile and fibre festivals in the whole of the Netherlands. The event runs over 3 days at Expo in, I think it's pronounced Houten. It brings together hundreds of stalls, demonstrations, workshops, designers and fibre artists from all over the Netherlands. Everything centered around textiles like knitting, crocheting, macrame. We've got stitch work, we had weaving, everything fibre. So if you love yarn, this is basically a really dangerous place to be. But I'm actually going with a couple of very specific goals in mind. The first one is for sample 3 of the Arlino top, which I'm wearing now. I'll do a grand reveal in a moment. Basically, you can already see here that the shaping around the neckline is just, it's a little bit suboptimal. It could do better. And so I would like to make a third demo so that I can improve this. I feel like I need to remove all of this fabric here and it needs to go out. This one is 100% linen from BC Khan, the Lino. So the linen's basically picking up my slack for me. She's like, don't worry babes, I'll drape. And that's great, but not all yarns will be so kind and forgiving. This one will literally wear on my body over time. It will just fall flat. But another yarn may do very differently. So I need to correct this and knit it out in as many different summer fibers as I can to make sure that I'm giving you the best pattern. So yeah, my first goal is to find more linen for the Arlino sample 3. And then the next thing that I'm going to be working on or looking for is cotton for an upcoming t-shirt pattern, which I'm calling the smooth sailing tee. The smooth sailing tee is basically this little t-shirt here. A few years ago, like I think about 3 or 4 years ago, I knitted out this little demo and I posted it on social media and I put it on Pinterest as well. And over the years, it's actually been accumulating quite a little bit of interest, quite a few likes and shares and pins. So this t-shirt's been gathering a little bit of interest and I decided to cure it up in my next summer edition. I already got some beautiful yarn from Rosa Rios 4, some 100% organic cotton. And so I was going to make it like a true sailor style. I was going to do this salty white for the main color and then this deep navy for the stripes. How gorgeous would that be? I think this is just an absolute vision. So I got that yarn already and I'm looking for more cotton for sample B because I just think this t-shirt would look great in cotton. So that's my mission. My mission today is to find linen for the third sample of the Arlino top and more cotton for the second sample of the smooth sailing tee. I'm also hoping to meet up with the beautiful yarn dyer Vol Hobby, Linda from Vol Hobby. She and I are collaborating on the Arlino top. I'm making my second sample in her beautiful bamboo. This one's called Breeze and it's a blend of bamboo, merino and a little bit of nylon. You can see it's so shiny, so drapey. I've made it a little bit looser in area because I want this top to drape. Ideally over here you're going to see these beautiful pleats and they're going to fall on your body. The vision is just like ancient linen in culture and like I'm just seeing like cloth draping and dropping and just being just really beautiful. So I'm trying to capture that organic drape that you get from linen and I'm trying to capture it in as many different drapey summer fibers as I possibly can. So yeah, this one is bamboo. Linda from Vol Hobby has supplied this beautiful yarn And yeah, I just wanted to meet up with her and show her how that's looking. So that's it basically, guys. We're gonna get our little bags ready and we're gonna get on our merry way. I believe it is about an hour and a half to get there. I'll show you the whole process. So I headed to the event with a couple of very specific yarns already in mind. But the moment I arrived, that plan very quickly started to dissolve. The Handwerkbeurs is entirely centered around textile crafts, so knitting, crochet, sewing, spinning, embroidery, all existing in this one shared space. And there were so many stalls. Everywhere you looked, there was a color, a texture, a fiber, people touching yarn, comparing skeins, holding things up to the light. It really felt like stepping into a world where everyone speaks the same quiet, creative language. It actually took me around 2 hours just to walk through the entire venue once. And that was without properly stopping at every single stall. So there's a lot to see. And the range of fibers on display was honestly incredible. There was everything from traditional fibers like wool, cotton, and linen to more luxurious bases like cashmere, silk, baby alpaca. And then also these really unexpected materials like pineapple fiber, jute or jute, viscose, even leather yarn, which I found quite fascinating. And I think what stood out to me the most wasn't just the variety, but how different each yarn felt. Because when you see one yarn online, you often imagine what it might be like. But being able to touch it, like actually touch and feel it, wear it, the softness, the density, the structure, it changes everything. As a designer, those little details matter so much. The difference between something feeling crisp or fluid, airy or dense, structured or drapey can completely change how a garment behaves once it's knit up. So I found myself constantly reaching out, picking things up, running the yarn through my fingers, and immediately thinking about what it wanted to become, whether it would work better for something fitted or oversized, whether it would hold structure or collapse inwards, whether it's going to drape, whether it would grow after blocking or hold its shape. It's honestly very difficult for me to look at yarn normally anymore. And I think that's something that's changed quite a lot for me over time. When I first started knitting, I was mostly just choosing yarns based on color and vibes. But now I think about fiber composition almost instinctively. I think about how something will wear over time and how breathable it is and how it will behave in different climates. I think about how it aligns with intention of the garment I'm designing. And that's why events like these feel so valuable, because it gives you access to fibers in a way that online shopping just can't replicate. There was also workshops and demonstrations happening throughout the day. You could really feel a sense of shared creativity. People weren't just buying yarns. They were learning, explaining, asking questions, and sharing ideas. Because knitting can feel like such a solitary craft sometimes, spaces like this remind you that it's also part of a much bigger, very alive, creative community. From a practical perspective, there are a couple of things worth noting if you're planning to visit. The first would be the shuttle bus between the station and the venue runs roughly every 30 minutes. Which does sound manageable, but in reality that does require quite a bit of planning, especially if you're trying to leave at a very specific time. I also came across one main bathroom area, which was adequate, but definitely something to be aware of given how large the event is. And the food area was fairly limited. It was more of a small hall with like classroom style seating and not a huge variety, but that's kind of what you can expect from events like this. So we actually ended up heading back towards Utrecht afterwards for a proper late lunch or early dinner, which was about a 30-minute journey, and honestly a really nice decompress after the event. You know, being on our feet all day. I checked my step app and apparently I walked 10,000 steps and did 7 kilometers. But yeah, other than that, the venue itself was very easy to navigate. The layout felt intuitive, there was plenty of space to move around, and the stalls ranged from very accessible, affordable yarns all the way through to more premium luxury fibres. So it really felt like there was a little something for everyone, whether you're just starting out or already quite deep into your fibre journey. And yes, I was very disciplined at first. I try to walk around, observe, I try to take everything in, and I did tell myself and my friends I was only there for very specific yarns. But then I started finding exactly what I came for, like immediately as I walked through the door, and all restraint quietly disappeared. My friends and I all got a reasonable amount of shopping in. I'll show you mine later, but here you can see my mate Berdina from Berdina Dextra Studios. She does incredible weaving work, by the way. She got herself, I think, every one of these purple Ute colors. And then my mate Simona bought some beautiful yarn for a gorgeous little vest. She got some yarn for a special little summer top. And I think she got some beautiful yarn for herself and her husband to make some socks. So I am finally home, and honestly, I had such a good day. I ended up finding some beautiful yarns, both for the Arlino top, for the smooth sailing tee, and just a little impulse purchase. Let's unpack it. So we'll start off strong with my little impulse purchase. I had enough money budgeted for the linen, the cotton, and then a little something extra if anything caught my eye. And I really tried to practice a lot of restraint, but there was a lot that caught my eye. I mean, you know. Anyway, I was quite close to the end of the event when I came across this. It is a chunky mohair in the most beautiful cobalt blue. And I'm just going through a cobalt blue phase at the moment. It's such a vibrant color that I haven't really taken the time to explore all that much, but I'm starting to get into it. What am I going to do? I don't know. It's going in my fluffy yarn section. This is a winter catalog problem. Then almost immediately I ran into the exact yarn that I was looking for. It was like fate was just geared up against me. I wanted to pause at this point and keep looking, but the thing is that this yarn was the exact base, thickness, color that I was looking for, and I didn't really want to risk someone else coming and buying all of the colors, so I bought these. We've got enough to do a main color in either of these, and then the other one will be the stripe, so I'll make that decision later. I'm leaning towards this one being the main color and this one being the stripe, but yeah, so this was impulse purchase number 2. Then, not too many stalls down, I found the yarn that I'm going to make my third Arlino sample in. I want to have a little rant at this point because I was really trying to be very intentional, and I definitely probably would have bought yarn at this particular stall. This particular stall owner had so many beautiful exotic natural summer fibers that I would have ended up on one of them, but I want to go a little deeper into this because it turned into a thing that, I don't know, it just could have been a little different. So first of all, like I mentioned, I was looking for linen. That was top of my list. I was looking quite specifically for linen. And when I came across these cakes, the signage on the stall said linen and it gave a price. But the actual cake itself says linen cotton. So I was a little confused because I couldn't see the price for the linen cotton. Eventually the stall owner came over and she asked me if I needed some assistance, and I said yes please, I'm looking for the price of this particular cake, and she pointed to the price that said linen. And I said, oh well, that's interesting because this says linen cotton, so I thought it was something different. And she said yes, well there wasn't enough space to write out the whole thing, and I was like, girl, I get you, whatever, like. So at this point I'm like, amazing, like that's probably why it's so soft, because it really feels very soft. it feels like it's going to be really drapey. And everything was going really well here, up until the point where I'm going to take a little accountability, because this is my part in this story. Okay, so I'm turning 42 in July, and my eyes are going through changes that I just don't want to acknowledge. Basically, I can't be asked to whip out readers every time I need to look at something that's so impractical. And I didn't have my glasses on me, and when I turned the label around to read what the base exactly consisted of, I saw cotton, I saw linen, and the third element, I thought I saw nylon. That made sense to me. It could have been wool. That also would have made sense. But what I wasn't expecting was for it to be acrylic. Now, I want to take a breath here and just explain myself a little bit, because it has come to my attention that I lately sound like an insufferable yarn snob, fiber snob. I didn't wake up one day, rub the sleep out of my eyes, go, I feel like knitting, and then, start looking up the most expensive skeins to play with. I, just like everyone else, started with acrylic, and acrylic has a place and a space. It really does. But it's just that at this point, I'm not only educating myself, but I'm taking all of you guys on a fiber journey with me, and the clear objective here is, how do fibers behave, and what are the best constructions for that behavior? That's my objective. So I just want to learn every kind of a fiber, what it does, and what is the best way to represent it. Acrylic has definitely got a place and a space in this arena, but I didn't know that I was buying acrylic, and I'm a little bit disappointed about that, because just a little bit down the way at that exact stall, just a little bit further down on the table, she had 100% viscose, which I am absolutely bubbling to explore. And she also had pineapple fiber, which, like Queen, So if I had actually known that this was acrylic, mostly acrylic, 50% acrylic, I would have bought one of those other options. I still would have supported that stall. So I'm a little bummed out by the misrepresentation and the lack of communication, but I take accountability for the fact that I couldn't read. So very ironically, I'm actually going to take this opportunity to do a deep dive on acrylic. We're going to go into acrylic, its place and its space in the fiber world, what it means to beginners, what it means to people who have a restricted budget, and how it can work. How it can work in blends and how it can work on its own, and I'll make that next week's vlog. There are pros and cons to knitting with acrylic, and there are a lot of misconceptions. And there are moments in the knitting arena when acrylic absolutely just makes sense. It's like everything when it comes to fibers, it's not just black and white. But yeah, overall, I had a really lovely time. I got to spend time with friends. I got to meet up with Linda from Wool Hobby. Like I mentioned, I'm using her breeze, her merino bamboo breeze, for the second sample of the Arlino top. And the two of us had a quick conversation about doing an interview together about that, so that could be really cool. Yeah, I'm super inspired. I'm extremely inspired by all of those different fibers I saw. Inspired to try them, inspired to go see more fiber festivals, and fighting the urge to just cast on 17 new whips. Thank you very much to all of you for supporting me. If you're still here, please leave some comments if you went to the festival, or if you have gone to any festivals, what were your thoughts about it? Yeah, and subscribe if you don't mind, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!